Hey, Jared.
Yes.
Why don't porn stars do small talk?
I don't know.
Because they always just want to skip to the good part.
Yeah. It's part of the job. That's what they got to do. Good. Short and sweet. Right to the point. Just how they like it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, welcome back to Screen Time Film, a podcast where we discuss director's filmography in chronological order. Currently on P.T. Anderson and on his second film, Boogie Nights.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jared, well, when I close my eyes, I see this thing. It's like this big sign, and the name is like bright blue neon lights with like purple outline. This name is just so bright and so sharp that the sign, it just blows up because the name is just so powerful. It says Jared Youngbar.
Wow. That's very nice of you to say. If only that were true.
So my name is Josh, and this is my co-host, Jared.
Oh, Josh, I think you need all that bass. You hear that? It kicks, it turns, it curls up your belly. It makes you want a freaky deaky, right?
Is that when he was trying to sell the stereo?
Oh, yeah. Then also, Josh, the cowboy look is coming back. You'll see.
Yes. Depending on what part of the country you're in, it's always back.
It's always in style, yeah. That is true.
I've been to those parts.
Yeah, recently, actually, yeah.
All right, well, no feedback, right?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Didn't. All right, so Boogie Nights, 1997, rated R, 2 hours and 35 minutes. So this is only 1 year later.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Very crazy.
All right. An idealistic porn producer aspires to elevate his craft to an art when he discovers a hot young talent. So this was also written by P.T. Anderson.
Nice.
Our cinematographer again, Robert Elswit.
Mm-hmm.
Composer, the same people again, right?
Yeah, just the one this time,
Yeah.
Michael Penn.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was in the last one, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cost. Estimated production cost. What do you think?
This has to be a lot more, but the first one was 5, 6, 7, something like that, I believe.
3.
Oh, wow. Okay. I still think he did this on like a impressive budget though, especially because second film, but
Okay.
man, I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
that you have to do for this.
Period piece, all that stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of actors.
I realize in watching this and looking at some of the places they're showing in Hollywood, I guess LA, like I'm like, some of the stuff still looks like that now. So I honestly was like, you know, I just being there, I was just there last week.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, some areas you probably wouldn't have to do a whole lot. Just move cars, you know, like
that's true.
Stuff like that.
Get the right cars. Yeah. And that's true. You might,
some of the stuff is not updated like visually on the outside of these buildings.
No. Yeah, that's true. So
there are areas that are, but like,
besides the interiors, no, you're right. Outside, they probably didn't have to do that much set decoration or changes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 20 million.
Close. 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought 20 million would still be low.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
All right. We got 3 Oscar noms, no wins, but
okay.
nom for Best Actor in Supporting Role for Burt Reynolds, Best Actress in Supporting Role for Julianne Moore, and then Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen, Paul Thomas Anderson, obviously for the
nice.
But none of them won, just all nominated.
I think this was the year of Titanic, so that definitely won which makes sense.
Yeah.
I think this is, well, the 90s in general, but even was just an awesome decade for movies, but especially late 90s, there's a lot of good stuff. So
Yeah.
a lot of competition, I imagine, besides even just Titanic.
So, all right. And we've got, yes, some colorful cast here. We got
Oh, yeah.
Louis Guzman,
Yes.
Burt Reynolds. And he was top billed on this, which is
That's weird.
Which is weird because he's not even that major.
No.
But anyway, Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly, Don Cheadle, Heather Graham, Mark Wahlberg, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah.
Anything I missed?
No, I don't think so.
That you noticed?
No.
Cool. All right. Overall thoughts. Well, okay, so we talked about, I think, a little bit last week, end of last week's pod. We both have seen this film.
Yep.
You more recently than me. Like, I'm like, I really don't know if I rewatched it since like watching it
Once
when it came out.
Okay.
I mean, I might have watched it twice around that time, but like, I didn't see it in the theater. But like when it came out on DVD or something, probably like within 6 months or a year of the theatrical release. And I know I watched it at least once, but maybe twice. But
Okay. I'm curious for you to go first because since you haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm curious what
Yeah.
like now, like what, almost 30 years you probably since you've seen it. No, probably not that long, but
well, I mean, yeah, if I
25
saw it,
maybe.
I saw it in 99 or 2000, something like
Yeah,
maybe, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, at least 25.
yeah. I'm curious what you think of it first.
I mean, so I'll say I remember liking this film a lot. And I would say this time around, not that I disliked it, but I didn't like it as much as I remembered liking it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's still good, but like there's just, I don't know, something that was just kind of slow in parts and just kind of felt long,
Yeah. It is long, yeah. But that's interesting. So just that was the main thing that made you not like it as much this time, was just slow.
It just felt like there was times where I was like, okay, like let's get it moving along.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it felt like. Which is also, I think there's not as much depth in the characters. Like the Hard Eight had a lot more depth in the characters.
For sure.
And so like that, is I think because when, here's how I'll use the example. I know it's like different, but like, if you have interesting characters and some depth there, then like it doesn't matter if they're even actually doing much. Like it's fascinating. And I think a perfect example is Your Friends and Neighbors TV show, where like it's great, like, whatever it was, 9-10 episodes, like almost an hour long probably each one. So you watch like, they're not back to back, but week to week. And like, it's not like that a lot happens. Things happen, but not a lot happens, but they're interesting characters and they have some depth to them. And so anyway. So,
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just feel like it was not, no, that's all. So it just felt a little slow at times. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely not much depth to the characters. Kind of makes sense with the industry they're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I guess also this is more about, I think it's more about, this is kind of opposite of his first film he did, where it was very character focused. This is way more about the culture of that time in late 70s and 80s. Like this spans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like 6, 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it starts in 77 and we go to at least 83, 84.
Like that,
yeah, almost mid 80s. So a lot of it is like about this industry, obviously, but in particular, but then just the culture in the area and everything that is going on at that time. And that's one part that I love about this movie because they do it so well with, I have a note about this. And this part of it, I think it does feel like an quote unquote epic film for that time period, like for that culture, 70s and 80s, and specifically about an industry that was economically booming at that time. And then we see as that goes, you know, then into with the way technology is, you know, it moves forward to
VHS, like
VHS. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. And stuff like that. And a lot of it also is, because the characters don't really, they go through a lot, but they don't really change too much. But it's more about the industry and the impact and result of consequences of what these people get into. And also we get a lot of like what happens when they try to move on from it too, which is a huge thing also. I think it's really great. First time I watched it, I really liked it. Still really liked it watching it again this time. And I don't know, to me it doesn't really feel slow to me. I really like these time periods too, so that helps. Obviously we have not necessarily if these characters are all great, but we have really great actors in this, which really helps too. I also really like, because I don't think we talked about this yet, and we'll see this more as we go with PTA's films too, but I really like when a director keeps his actors and brings them into like the next films too. There's other directors we've covered that have done the same thing, where they pick their people and they like them. They probably become good friends with them and keep casting them. And I think that's cool. And he's doing that with a few people. Like at least with Robert Eggers, it was mainly just Willem Dafoe, I think was like kind of the main one. Oh, Anya Taylor-Joy, I guess a little bit too, or Anya. But I like how he has, I mean, Philip Baker Hall, John C. Reilly, those are the main two, right? That he carries over?
Well, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was just a cameo, but and all those continue on too as we go, also, which is awesome. So I like that too when a director does that. And the only other thing I want to say is it's really impressive what he managed to accomplish with this movie, just as a second film that he's done. Even the first one we really liked and was like a really good debut, but this is really impressive, like, because it's a pretty big scale and scope, and I mean he executed on it really well. And again, you can see those director influences a lot in this one, just like in the last one that he has, which was Scorsese and Tarantino mainly are the two that come to mind for me for sure, which is awesome.
I think a little, like, again, I think even like the not that there weren't some good moments, but like felt less of the dialogue, like less Quentin Tarantino in this one than There's a scene at one point that I have a note about when we get to it that's like straight Tarantino scene just in general, which we can talk about when we get into it. All right, well, let's get into like some story plot notes. I mean, the big main first part is just introduction of Eddie, who later becomes Dirk Diggler.
Yeah. I always forgot it is Eddie because I always think of Dirk, but yeah, you're right.
So, what do you think? One question would be like, was it a little too easy for him to get?
Oh, you think like Jack Horner? You think he was like following this kid already? And
I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like it was just like a little too coincidental.
There's definitely some of that.
Yeah,
for sure. But that could also be right time, right place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, I think, especially the way they set up things and tease like through the whole film, never actually showing anything, and just like every like
yeah, to the very last moment. Yeah.
Then I think it's you know, I think it's a clever thing. Now that, I mean, that'd be a question if we at the end, but
yeah,
I think it was smart to actually ever show it. But
well, yeah, I haven't noted that too. When we can get there at the end. Yeah,
but yeah. So, but I think it's the opening is good, and the tension there of like him, like, hey, it's my job. I don't want to just leave this guy. And
I think it's, well, I mean, at times in this movie, especially like the second half of this movie, it gets really serious. But I think overall, kind of also like opposite of the last movie. The last movie was pretty serious. In this one, I think we said when we mentioned at the end of the last pod, this film, I basically, like, the one thing I said about it, like, it was fun. Like, it's way more just like chill and like just like fun hanging out. Now again, that's the first half, and then there's a hard shift for sure.
Yes,
but that's, so yeah, it's a little more I guess surface level. Yeah, like you mentioned, they don't go deep into the characters, like personalities and such that much.
Yeah,
but again, I mean, also industry, very superficial anyway. Like, it's not about that at all. It's like clearly just about looks. But
that is true. That's true. The industry is.
Yeah. A lot of industries, honestly. Yeah. I also want to say, my first note, just want to mention again, they do such a great job, especially now hearing you said $15 million for the budget. They do such a good job at portraying the 70s and 80s both. And how different, when we do get to the 80s versus the 70s, the look of everything, especially the interiors, like our main house, like early on, which has a very specific feel, and then the house at the end, where they go to rob the guy, which is like one of my favorite scenes that I definitely will talk about. But yeah, you get that different feel. But I think they do such a good job of the set design, which again is mainly interior, because you said the outside probably don't have to change much besides cars. And obviously the costumes, different things like that. It really does feel like the time period, which is I always appreciate, because those small details, especially, like I've mentioned that a lot before, I really pay attention to that stuff with period pieces. Yeah. Which again, out of them all, Mad Men still, I think, does it the best, which is crazy.
Yeah. All right. So then, so we get Dirk Diggler. I mean, he's slowly integrating into this and
persona.
Yeah. And so he quickly becomes pretty famous.
Yeah. When they started getting to like the quick montage of him, like rising in popularity really quick, and then even at the awards and all that. I really like it's like right before that. It's like that very first pool party scene at Jack's. It's just awesome. When we get to cinematography also, like, it's so cool what they do in that scene. But there's a really, that I think is like, at times where you said like there's not a lot of depth to the characters, but I think there is actually a really profound moment in the pool scene where Amber finishes talking to her son on the phone, and then she does like a line of coke, and then looks up and sees Dirk about to cannonball into the pool. And the way she looks at him, it's like basically like in that moment she's deciding like, oh, this is now my son, and she's abandoning her real son, like in that moment. And you see obviously as the film goes too, like how
dysfunctional that relationship is.
Dude, well, yeah, on so many levels. But like, yeah, like that's she like decides that. I think in the moment, it seems to me at least, yeah, in that scene. So that's a cool moment, cool moment for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this opening, the first act, so to speak, is the fun part, and
yeah,
and it also I think it's interested to just the tension or juxtaposition of like how they make it, because what they're doing is not wholesome, but then they kind of make everyone seem pretty like just like very nice and friendly, and like,
yes,
so like it's like this weird dynamic there.
That's a great point. Yeah, because it's complete opposite of the industry they're in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all like real nice, and they make it seem like they're like one big family. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which I mean, which is, you know, to me that was, I think, is more like the kind of theme and message of this. I know we talk about that normally later, but
yeah,
it was more about like creating a family that a lot of these people were, especially him, our main guy, not feeling like, I mean, we don't see a lot, but we see a little bit in the beginning, and it's like his mom's yelling at him, and it just doesn't feel like he fits in there. And then he finds some place that he kind of fits in, and it even feels special for, you know, the way God made him.
Yeah. Well, we get the scene with his mom where she tears into him, but I can't remember if does his dad even have any dialogue? I know we see a shot of him and he's just kind of checked out.
Yeah, I feel like he says something, because then he like,
but like you see the shot of him like just sitting on the bed while like in the other room while she's yelling at him, and he's just like completely checked out. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he doesn't really have his parents, so he's just yeah. And of course the job he was at, which and his age and everything else, just like, yeah, why not? You know, he just goes for it because he's doesn't really have much else in that moment. So
yeah, for sure. So how about the some of the little side characters? I mean, we got William H. Macy's character, Little Bill.
Little Bill, man. That dude doesn't catch a break the whole time. The whole time. It's insane.
Yeah.
And amazing shot and scene when, you know, the last part that he's in this movie.
Yeah.
Which we can get to, because that's literally like the actual shift is on that New Year's. But yeah, he's great. We already talked about Philip Seymour Hoffman in general, just how great he is, but his character in this is he's so different in every film he does. And he's just so great. Also seems like a lot of time he is just doing his own thing, like he's off script. You know, it seems like he's doing a lot of improv. I don't know if that's true, but it was all we in the trivia last week, it was all he did in the last one, but it seemed like even in this too, a lot of times he was just and he's
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's so good at that. Yeah. I love I'm blanking on his name also now, but I love John C. Reilly's character in this too. Actually, Reed, there we go. Yeah, the introduction to him is so good when they're having this conversation at the pool party, and he's, you know, in the middle of making him a margarita, and it's just their dynamic is so good right away, and like him being like, hey, yeah, did you see Star Wars again? Because this is 77, you know, and they're just like talking about that. And he's like, yeah, I've been told I look like Han Solo, and like that. It was so good, like that kind of stuff. Actually, him though, I would argue, has a little more depth to him, because you see throughout the movie, like he has like a lot of, not necessarily skills, but at least hobbies. Like he's doing magic, he's doing he mentioned something else too, but like he's doing a lot of different things. Don Cheadle is mainly just like he's all about
sound systems.
And trying to start a stereo, but yeah. But no, all the characters are really fun though, especially because it's like also I think done really well introduction to all of them, like mainly at the pool party. We get a few before that, like Roller Girl, she's awesome too, and she's at the very beginning at the club, but
key part to she's like rolling around and
very key part. Yeah,
what allows the camera to kind of move around.
Yeah,
the way it does, kind of use her for motivation.
That's something right away we can go ahead and say, because I had a note about that for cinematography. Is just like really cool creative camera stuff they do with her specifically. Skating around is just awesome. I really like that.
Yeah. So then as we kind of move into
as far as side characters though, like what's your favorite, or did you have a favorite?
Favorite side character?
Yeah. Or at least this time watching it, was there anyone that you really liked in particular? No?
I mean, I always thought Roller Girl was pretty funny, like, because she just never takes off her skates, and like,
nope,
like committing to that as a bit is impressive.
Yes, it is.
And then, I mean, Heather, like you watch a lot of those scenes and you're like, Heather Graham's got to be really doing the skating.
Yeah, it looks
like it's not like they did a face replacement. I mean, like,
so, no, it's definitely, she's doing all that.
Yeah, so it's
also, I wonder how much she blew up from this movie, because the only other thing that I know from like right around this time, it probably was right before, was Swingers.
That's right, she was in Swingers.
Yeah.
Which was before this. I think Swingers was like 90.
That was 96.
90, yeah, it was like
95.
Either 95,
yeah,
96,
so
but that's a minor role at the end.
Yeah, I don't think she was that big then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
Shortly after this, obviously, she was in a lot too. So this might have been like kind of
helped her,
because this was had way more to do in this one as a character in this. But yeah, she's awesome.
Anyway, so we kind of move into the second act where there's the shift, right? You were talking about.
Yeah.
And so then the fame and ego and stuff starts to fracture the family dynamic, and drug use also does not help. And, and there's that other guy that like starts showing up that's like helping him get drugs.
Yeah. You didn't mention him in that. Yeah, Thomas Jane. I don't remember the name of his character. I forget now, but yeah, he's another one that obviously, like, I don't know how, he's another one. I'm not sure how big he was at this time before this movie came out, but yeah, he comes in also. There's also, because right around this time, at the pool scene, there's someone else forgot to mention, is the Colonel. Which another great like introduction, and then the best introduction is Philip Baker Hall at this New Year's party,
right? When
he comes in, is it Floyd? Floyd something.
Yep, Gandali.
Floyd Gandali. Yeah. I mean, we already talked a lot about him in the last pod, how great of an actor he is. And his introduction in this is so great.
Yeah.
And the dude, it's so funny also, like some of the lines he says in this.
So great.
Is so funny hearing it specifically from him.
Yeah, the lollipop and the butter or something.
Butter, yep. Yes. Which also, I this is really funny because I wonder if it'll be in trivia, but I noticed this time watching it, when he says that line, the Colonel's in the background, and you can tell he's laughing. But he's kind of like, he's moving around. He's kind of putting his hand to his face. And they just kept in the scene. I mean, because it's rack focus, so he's blurred in the background. But you can tell he's like, he's losing it there, which is really funny. That was a good moment.
Yeah, this is definitely when things start to get a little darker for Dirk and Amber.
Yeah.
And they start doing a lot more drugs and...
I love that shift. Well, obviously, right at New Year's, we get the complete tone change
Mm-hmm.
and shift, and obviously things from there get really dark and depressing. But I love the scene, which also probably more in cinematography also, but Little Bill, that scene is so good, where he goes in for the last time, walks into the room, literally doesn't like emote at all, where he walks on his wife one last time, then walks out. This scene's so good the way he does it, and walks to his car. I also like how he puts the drink on the top, gets the gun out, then locks his car again before going back inside. And yeah, crazy. Also, like, you know what he's gonna do, but pretty unexpected that like then he shoots himself also. Like that part was just like, dang. And then it was just like right into, all right, now we're in the 1980s. But yeah, it's just an amazing scene, I think.
Yeah.
That whole scene, honestly, because of all the Philip Baker Hall stuff too, and just really great. Oh, that's also, wait, is that also, yes, I think that's the same scene that Philip Seymour Hoffman.
It's the same party.
Yeah, and he takes him out to the car and then tries to kiss him, and man, yeah, there's a lot that goes down, and that scene's really great too. Yeah, crazy.
So what do you think was the point of no return for Dirk? Like, what was it? What was the action that kind of pushed him over the edge?
I don't know. I don't know about point of no return, but I think just once he started getting all the awards, like he was just like, all right, this is just who I am now. But the kind of the big shift is when he's, right after we get into the 80s, and he's doing a lot more drugs now, and then a lot later where we get a whole scene of them trying to get money. I'm guessing to get more drugs, but there's obviously a scene before that even too. I'm kind of jumping around, but where he's actually, there's a whole segment where it's like really great because it's cross-cutting between like a lot of these characters' lowest moments, right? Which I don't know if you have a section about that or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm getting it's about the.
Okay, that's a little further.
A little further
we can back up. Yeah, this is like right when we get to the 80s then.
Yeah. So you like the shift of tone?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And I think it's done well. Like doesn't feel like it's
No, I mean
out of nowhere.
I think it works too. But
yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you have other notes, like then it's kind of like the start of the third act is when everybody hits rock bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what's his name? Yeah. Well, the stuff where he tries to lay down tracks, that's funny. He tries to make an album.
Yeah, that was his first shift to try something else. I do have a note about that. I love that. Yeah, the recording scene where he sings, "You got the touch, you got the power," and like it sounds so bad. And then I also I did see something about the recording engineer is the actual composer for the film.
Oh, really?
Which is great. That's probably in trivia, but yeah,
that's funny
because he actually has a few lines and is in it for a little bit. But yeah, all that's great. Yeah, I love the scene, even though it's really sad, but cutting back and forth from Roller Girl in the car with Jack, and they're like experimenting, doing their new thing. And they pick up the guy that first time watching this movie, I did not realize. Did you realize the guy they pick up, who he is?
No.
He's the same guy from her class.
Oh, that's right. He says that. In
Yeah, I didn't catch it.
He's like, do you remember we went to school together?
Yeah, and I like because you get that very short scene in the beginning of the movie where he's making gestures at her and doing all that in class. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't catch that till this time watching it, and I was like, that's a great callback to that. It makes a whole lot more sense what she does to him in that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so cutting back and forth from her, still with the rollerblades on too.
Yep.
Beating the crap out of him. Well, actually, Jack is also.
Yeah, he does it first.
Right, because he's like, he insults him. Or the guy insults Jack.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, with Dirk, also like at his rock bottom, just doing whatever he can, gets in the car with the guy. Then the guy brings up other guys and beats him up.
Yep.
So.
Just to get some cash, because he.
But yeah, I like that moment's great. Obviously, it's depressing, but it's like good. I like how they cut back and forth between.
Between all this stuff, and I think it's also just good representation of, that was what he mentioned that he would do for money when we first meet him, and he's like in the kitchen cleaning, and he was like,
right.
"Oh yeah, people pay me $10 to do this or $20 to do that," and so then it's like. It's almost like he's going back to that point.
To the very beginning. Yeah, that's right. Because he even says the same amount.
And then he can't even get that. Then he can't even get that.
No, well, the amount of drugs he's on now and going to harder drugs, I'm assuming that's, crazy. Yeah, I didn't think about that though. Yeah, he's basically, because he even says, I think, the same amount.
Yeah.
That he's trying, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, at the very beginning. Yeah, he's saying, yeah.
And then what's his name the colonel ends up in jail.
That's a little earlier, but yes, that's a big moment too. That's crazy.
Yeah, like child molester or whatever, basically.
Yes, and watching this time, I'd noticed more because obviously I knew that was coming, and I was looking around and all the girls that's like with him around him, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now because they looked very young. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, so yeah, but that's kind of the shift also is like after the colonel, then it's Floyd. Although I kind of wish Floyd was in it more than he is. Like, but he's kind of the one that comes in after the colonel.
So which character you think would that the rock bottom hit you the hardest? Like, which one do you think like surprised you?
Well, are they cutting back because it's the two we mentioned, but then
Also,
is there
I think
a third one
with Amber? I think
Amber and Roller Girl, right? No, Roller Girl's another one.
Roller Girl's with the
something of a different scene later with them.
Isn't it Amber with like her trying to get custody?
Oh, that's right. Yes, of her kid. That's right. Yeah, and that doesn't go over well. Again, like going back to what I mentioned earlier was like showing consequences for, or when you're trying to move. How do you move on past this being in this industry? And that was basically the reason why she couldn't get.
Yeah, she couldn't get. And then also, and then they're not all intercut, but like you also have the stuff with the Don Cheadle and like wanting to get the loan and he can't get the loan because he's
that's right.
Adult.
Yeah, right. That's the other one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So out of them all, honestly, I think Roller Girl. Because she seems...
Well, she's so happy and good.
Yes.
And just goes along with whatever most of the film, and then all of a sudden she like snaps and then like...
Yeah, that was a lot of build up, and then she finally snaps. But I think she also has because man, like, because even Amber, even though she's trying to be like the mother person, like she's not a very good person. Like, I think Roller Girl is like,
and she's just like nice. To everybody.
yeah, she has like the best heart, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It seems. So yeah, I think her.
Yeah,
because like even Dirk, it's like dude, you got yourself into this.
Yeah,
like
that is true.
And not that Roller Girl didn't either, because she was even, I think the opening scene, it's not shown, but I think it's implied like Jack was like basically prostituting her out. Like even at the club, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or he there's like a remark about that. But yeah. But anyway, so I think Roller Girl, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it the same for you, or what do you?
No, I mean, I was thinking towards more Dirk. I mean, like, yeah, I know he got himself into it, but it's just like that scene in the truck.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. Yeah,
and you're just like.
Also, it's crazy how much when you see the light on him, his eyes, like how bad he looks in that scene. You can see how visibly different it is after he's done all these drugs,
and then to see how much he changed, because like he was also in the beginning much like just a nice, like innocent kind of guy, like his like
that's true.
Like kind of a lot like Roller Girl, like but like the whole fame and just the system and the drugs, all that stuff kind of ruined him. But
yep.
Yeah, and then then the last like bit is the kind of everyone comes back and there's some forgiveness and return to the family. I think it's really touching when Jack and Dirk are back, and it doesn't feel like, it feels like authentic, like it feels real.
Yeah,
and I think that was done really well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's a good moment. Is that? I'm trying to think. That moment, is that before or after they go to Alfred Molina's house and do that whole thing? Because that's pretty close to the end also.
Yeah, I think it's after, I think.
Okay. Because there's only two other scenes I want to talk about, which is that scene, Alfred Molina's house, and then the scene with Don Cheadle at the donut shop, which I think also is around that point, or maybe right before. I can't remember when that is either. But I guess to start, the Don Cheadle scene is great. A good reveal also with this girl, and you see she, when he gets out of the car and you see she's pregnant, and he goes to the donut shop. That scene is just crazy. But kind of unclear like how much money he ends up getting, but like I mean I get it, like he's in shock and then he just like runs and grabs it.
He's got enough to open his store.
Sure, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, he's got that at least, yeah. But
it's crazy because you think about it, I'm like, man, there's no way you could get away with that nowadays, but
no.
But then you're like, yeah, then like there's no, how would they know who, they wouldn't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, in the moment, yeah, you just grab the money and get out of there. It looked like
there was just a three-way gunfight, and so yeah.
Because he didn't touch anything either, so there wouldn't be no fingerprints. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, crime was so much easier back then.
I know. If you want to be a criminal, it's too late.
Yeah.
You could have been back in the 70s, but not now. So yeah, I just want to mention that, and then obviously where they all go to the house for like, and this is like one last like big scene in the movie, which is, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about the scene, but this is one of my favorite scenes of the movie, and I would like looking forward to watching this time. Like I was looking forward to that scene at the end because it's just it's amazing.
What is it you like about it?
Well, this is the scene I'm mentioning. Like this is the most Quentin Tarantino scene because it's like the mixture of like the crazy amount of violence and like over the top humor or just like extravagance of the characters, specifically Alfred Molina, which he's just like, it's the only scene he's in, and it's just like amazing. And also just the random Chinese dude just with firecrackers going off the whole time, and they just keep freaking out. It's so good. That and yeah, it's just a very Tarantino scene. And you know him singing along during that scene. What else is it? Oh, I guess so Thomas Jane, again, I apologize, I don't remember every character's name, so I'm going by the actor's name. Then makes a break for it to try to get the money and dies or gets shot. I think that's the main thing. Anyway, yeah. So I just love that all those elements. That it's just a great scene. I don't know. Did you feel that too in that scene? Like, does it feel like something that would be in one of his movies?
Yeah.
I can just tell with like that's definitely one of his biggest directors he looks up to, I imagine. And I think now, like I've seen it, like they're like best friends, him and Tarantino, which is cool. PTA, because I know Tarantino has a lot of reverence for him. I know Tarantino really liked this movie because I saw a little thing him talking about it. But I know Tarantino loves There Will Be Blood, like that's like his, which we'll get to for sure.
Yep. So the ending.
Yeah.
The satisfying. Do you like how it ends?
I do think it's a crazy way to end the movie, but I think it's cool, like to end on that. Yeah. Just him, yeah. Yeah, because it's discussed, and then and you see so many people's reactions to it throughout the movie too.
I also think you could have, like, I think it'd be more powerful if like it's more like you still didn't show it, but then you had like, it's like, because it's basically supposed to be like he's kind of back, right? Like he's like he's back,
supposed to be, but you don't know.
You don't really know, but like it could be just like, you know, he's just randomly wherever. I mean, it's because it's all you. Is just like randomly he's there in front of a mirror, right?
Yeah.
He's just randomly some other, and like some girl is like again pulling his pants down, and then just like her face gets like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then I think you could do that, and you never, you know, give away the, because it's like to me it's like the Metachlorian thing. It's like sometimes it's better to leave stuff
to leave the mystery. Yeah,
the mystery. Yeah.
Yep. If you explain too much, it's like
I don't think we need to see it.
Yeah.
To believe that like it, because I think they spent the whole movie, you know, making us believe that he was well endowed and knew how to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, it might be been better to not do that. But then what do you end on?
I mean, you still
in the movie in the same spot, but you're saying
kind of
just
similar tone of like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Just doing it a different way.
Okay. Yeah.
And leaving the mystery there is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let us know. What do you guys think? Yeah. Like, do you like the good choice or not? Share the dong at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put up a poll and see, see what would be the better ending. Yeah. I am curious how much he had to even, like, I'm curious how much he filmed, if like, just in general for this movie. Like, it's already long, but I wonder if there's like an even longer cut that he originally intended for this. 'Cause it's already pretty big, like, scope of a movie, and I don't know. It seemed like he probably wanted it to be like 3 hours or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. What do you have anything else to bring into cinematography? All right.
Yeah, cinematography.
Well,
Robert Elswith.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
The long take there right at the beginning.
Yes.
And
Very
it's
cool.
very well done. I think it is a little bit more. That says, because they do one. They did one in the casino in the previous film. That was pretty good. Like
This is way more ambitious though.
yeah, I think it's just like there are a few moments where it's like it moves a little too quickly. That then I feel like the camera. It's very obvious. The camera, like I don't know. It's just getting nitpicky, but like because the idea in those are normally like you want to feel like you're walking through the scene, right? You don't want to be like, oh, the camera's moving through the scene. You want to feel like it's you walking through the scene.
Yep,
kind of
that makes sense.
And I feel like there was a couple times where it was, to me, I was like, oh yeah, we're watching a camera. Like it just kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But I mean, still impressive.
I wanted to ask you how they did it because it definitely starts on a crane, but then like it has to be a handoff, right? Because then you're going into the club, right? So is that how they do it? Like it's just like
I mean, the way they did it in the studio.
Yeah, but this is 1997.
Yeah, still the way. No, but the way. They
I guess it was the same. Yeah,
the way they did the studio, you just had a guy on a lift.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
And then he just walked off the lift when he got to the ground.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking it's like harder than what it is, or making it more complicated than what it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know if they did it that way, but that's a pretty lo-fi way of doing it.
I also like, which I know you talked about pretty recently. Actually, I think we talked about it with Robert Eggers because he likes to do it too. But I like when a director's not afraid to like let scenes breathe, and I know you really like that too, where there's not a ton of cuts, because that seems to be pretty normal, like with like modern TV and movies. So I like when, there's not as many cuts, and because it does, and I know you've talked about this before too, it does give a very different feel to it if you're not cutting all the time.
Yep,
for sure.
Yeah, well, it doesn't relieve the tension there. Now,
yes,
in this case, it's the more of an excitement, like just immersiveness of trying to, again, make you feel like you're going to that nightclub. And
it's a good way to set the tone. And like, hey, this is fun. Yeah.
So the lighting and stuff and the color in the first part is very bright and very vibrant and warm and just everything, which kind of helps sell the everyone's nice. It's a family. Everyone's happy.
Oh, I didn't even think about that lighting wise. Is there a shift in that too?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Dramatic. Yeah, it gets very gritty and more dark shadows and stuff like after the shift.
Okay. Nice.
And so that was one of my questions. It's like if you noticed the shift or not. Like
no, I didn't.
You noticed it in a tonal way, like but like you didn't notice the visuals.
I didn't pay attention as much to the lighting. No.
Yeah, because then they also switched to a lot more handheld and like kind of awkward framings and tense scenes.
Oh, okay.
Just to kind of give it a different feel. So it was even the camera work is different. And
that's cool. So they intentionally changed the framing as well, even.
Yeah, just
when it was more depressing and darker. Okay.
And then they kind of, again, for the last part, everything's more a lot of it's like more locked off, like more steady, like just the camera's not moving, it's more just letting the scenes be there.
Cool.
For a lot of that stuff.
I think the cinematographer is awesome, and I'm looking forward to I think it's mainly him on pretty much all these movies, and just revisiting him because I have seen a lot of his films, but not all of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does moving forward also, because we already talked about the first pod, like the other films he's been the DP on that aren't PTA's movies. There's a lot of good ones also there as well.
Yeah, We had a list in here somewhere.
Yeah, we
We're
mentioned
talking
that.
about Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol, and Ripley were some of the ones we.
Oh yeah.
mentioned.
That's even most recently Ripley. Yeah, awesome.
I guess was he directing that too? I feel like didn't they?
Robert Elswit.
Didn't the person that directed Ripley was like originally a DP?
Yeah.
So is he
Steve Zalian?
So
we talked about. Or no, was he the writer?
I don't know.
I know we talked about Steve Zalian.
Is it listed as what he's DP on? Was he also the director because he's the DP, or is it like this is the DP the director brought on that used to be a DP?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
The only other one I want to mention is the pool party at Jack's house too, where we get like our main introduction to most of the characters.
It's no like longer.
Yeah, very cool. And then ends with him like following the girl into the pool and go underwater and come back up. Like all that was really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, really good cinematography.
I wanted to ask you like how even in I would say in like 97 or 96 or whatever. What's the best way to do that? Like, is there a way to like completely cover the camera with the lens to like be able to submerge the camera in the water? Like, what's the practical way of doing that? But like still getting the full, not blocking obviously the lens.
I mean, they probably have some kind of waterproof housing for the whole camera.
Okay, because I have seen behind the scenes of like the covering for it when they got to like film scenes in the rain, or any kind of like.
But I don't know because like that, I mean, they were still probably shooting, they were still shooting on film then.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, so like in fully submerging.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be in trivia because that's not sure how I would.
And it's cool. We actually get. It's funny. That reminded me of. We get some technical, which actually I also wanted to ask you about. We get some technical talk of film and camera stuff with their. I guess he's the DP on the films they're shooting. It was really funny getting into all that too.
Well, especially because what was William H. Macy's like? What was he supposed to be doing?
Yeah, he's kind of just walking around like. I was trying to think of like, what's the proper name for that on his set? Like, cause he's going around, he was making last minute changes to the, remember like,
maybe he's a script supervisor
or something, but he was running around, he was getting everyone in order. So I guess he's,
or like an AD or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Assistant director.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like because when the DP was first talking to him right after, I think he saw the first scene with his wife, and he's
and the people are all crowded around her. She's on the ground. Yeah, that scene's so good because they're talking about.
He's like trying to be like
he's very
so
serious
tomorrow,
about
like we should light it like this, and
that's what I wanted to ask you about all that because he gets really in depth with it, and his dryness too about it is so good. He's just like he's like it's only like the I don't know, the filming of it, like he's like very much like, this is very important. Like you need to recognize how important this is.
Yeah.
Cause he in the middle of the first scene he does with Amber and they gotta stop and then change out which actually has a cool shot too. I forgot about that. Where they show the inside and the film.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And then they had to switch out the mag.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The film mag. All right.
Oh, I forgot. I skipped by. This is just a really random, funny thing, but I don't know if you noticed this, but watching it this time, Burt Reynolds looks, I feel like almost exactly like Pedro Pascal does now. They look very similar in this movie. Like his look in this looks like Last of Us Season 2, Pedro Pascal. I don't know. I just really remind him a lot. Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't get that? You didn't notice that?
Didn't pick up on that, no.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I'm not saying you're not right, just didn't notice it. Music and score. I actually have a note for this.
Oh, okay. You go first.
So that's montage of like where Dirk is in the pickup truck.
Yeah.
The guy. That montage there, the music is the same from Hard Eight.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
What part in Hard Eight is it from?
So, I mean, it's like the kind that they
Was it actually score or was it a needle drop?
no score.
Okay.
Like it's like where like they kind of have like the tension multiple times. They use a lot more in Hard Eight than it's like
okay.
it's like the same thing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not an expert.
No, I'll have to listen back to that because it's my main note for this is there's hardly any score in this, but there's so many needle drops. Like that's most of it, which is awesome because there's a ton of really great 70s and 80s songs in this. But when there was score, yeah, it's very simple, like mainly just organ, electric piano, or mellotron, like, and just like mainly only like one instrument. So that's probably what you're talking about. But yeah, I'll have to go back to that scene and listen for it. But that's cool. I mean, he was on that film as well, Michael Penn, and he's actually in this movie, which is funny.
Yeah, didn't even know. Right, well, themes and messages. What do you got?
Yeah, I didn't write anything down for this, but we kind of talked about it already, but it's like consequences for your actions in general, but specifically if you're, going into this industry in general, and what happens if or when you try to move on from it too, and what society thinks of you, the world thinks of you.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a lot of that, I would say.
Yeah, there's definitely that. But I put down was like a lot of lonely people looking for purpose and identity and find like this kind of family there. Because that's kind of what, kind of comes back at the end. It's like kind of accepted back and kind of like the happy little family that they kind of had. And when they all got too big for their britches and all tried to, they get kind of blew up.
Yeah, good point.
All right, let's do a little trivia. Burt Reynolds, after seeing the rough cut, regretted making the film. He fired his agent and did not participate in promotional interviews.
Oh.
He ended up winning a Golden Globe for the role and being nominated for an Academy Award for his performance, despite being front runner for the latter. It was widely rumored that he did not win because he had distanced himself from the movie.
Wonder why he didn't like it. Maybe he had some beef with PTA or something during it. So he didn't like the experience even when they were filming it.
Okay, Burt Reynolds hated the idea of doing a movie promoting the porn industry.
Okay.
And turned the Jack Horn role down 7 times. He also felt like he was selling out, letting his old fans down. After angrily telling BT, hey, the last time the part was offered, he wasn't interested in to leave him alone. Anderson told him if he could carry that attitude with him to the role, he would be nominated for an Oscar. He subsequently chose to do the film after his agent pushed him to do it because he hadn't had a decent offer in a long time. He was later nominated for Best Actor in a supporting role.
Well, I mean, this is towards the end of his career anyway as an actor. Like, I don't think he did much in the 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong. And then he died, I believe, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
I think around like 2015 or something. So I don't know how much he did. Like, obviously, he's the biggest in 60s and 70s, I want to say.
Yeah.
Maybe 80s also. But anyway, even when he was taking his role, I think he was towards the end of his acting career.
Leonardo DiCaprio was originally offered the role of Dirk Diggler.
Oh, he wouldn't have done Titanic, though.
Well, he liked the screenplay, but turned it down because he had already signed to do Titanic.
Yeah.
And DiCaprio is the one that suggested Mark Wahlberg for the role.
Nice. That's another one. Was Mark Wahlberg even in much before this movie? Probably not. Because all his big movies were like after this. Well, in this one and like movies after this. So this is pretty early on in his career also.
He's in the simulated, the fake porn movies that they used, they adapted actual dialogue from real porn movies so that no one could say it sounded fake.
Okay. We didn't even talk about the the terrible documentary that Amber directs that they show also.
Yeah.
Is I wanted to ask you because I thought like when I heard this line I thought like I was picturing you laughing because it's a very like film director joke. But Dirk in the documentary is talking about how like, yeah, he lets me do my own blocking or something. And he's like, no. That was so good.
And then that was the part he wanted cut out of it. Yeah. When after they're done, he was like,
that's right.
To Amber, he's like, it's really good. But I think we should cut the part where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Does that even happen? Like, do actors ever get to pick their own blocking? Like, is that?
Yeah, I mean, in reality, like, I mean,
okay, because I don't know how that works. That's why I wanted to ask you.
Well, like, I mean, depends on the set, but like, I would imagine most people, they're decent human beings that you're it's a collaborative thing. Right. And so like, if someone has an idea and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that thing that works, because you're just all trying to work it out in the moment to make things work. But I'm also sure there's those few directors that are like, have some kind of crazy, insane like way to like see everything in their head and have it down to a very fine detail. Yeah. And then they're just like, no, this is how I want it. I see it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not how I work. Mark Wahlberg kept the prosthetic prop for his penis.
Of course. I always hear actors like they always have to steal something from a set when they're done.
Oh, wow. This is cool. So, according to William H. Macy, the scene with which Dirk wins all the golden awards, the phallus awards, was filmed with, this is what it says here, filmed with about 100 extras who had shown up in their own 1970s clothes. They weren't told what kind of movie they were filming, only that it featured Burt Reynolds. The crowd was told to applaud after Melora Walters announced Diggler as the winner. However, Walters then added the line, "I can't wait to have his pick."
Oh, yeah, I remember that line.
Which was met with stunned silence. About half of the extras got up and left, never to return.
That's great.
Gathering a new group of extras in a period clothing caused substantial delays. So when filming finally resumed, P.T. Anderson carefully explained the scene to the new crowd so they knew what we're in for. Ironically, Walters is using a much more subdued line in the finished movie. So
so the original was way...
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
So, William H. Macy, I guess he must talk about this film a lot, recalled that at the wrap party, Nina Hartley, who played his character's wife, who is actually a real life porn star. So that lady, I mean, you barely see her, but yeah. She gave all the cast gifts of her own films.
Oh.
And the one she gave to Macy was Nina Hartley's Guide to Anal Sex.
How sweet of her.
Yes.
To give those as gifts to the whole cast.
Oh, look at this. In 1998, Cinema Attractions asked P.T. Anderson what he thought the film was about. He said, "It's about finding family. I know this sounds kind of preposterous because it's about a porno. That's a really kind of weird thing, is it, that you say, well, it's about the pornography industry, and then you want to quickly say, well, not really. But I think ultimately the thing that most likely really focused on was that a lot of people searching for their own dignity and trying to find any kind of love and affection they can get.
There you go. You nailed it.
There's a bunch of stuff because this film's kind of a cult classic, but
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's enough for today. Final thoughts. I still think it's a good film. Like it's just like I think it had this more of iconic memory of it, and it just didn't quite hold up to that for me. But,
that sucks. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, but still good. Yeah, but like you saw it more recently, so.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was our next film? Magnolia.
Magnolia, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen this one.
I don't think I have either. I know it's very long.
Yeah.
That's all I know. Also, I know crazy good cast again. So that'd be cool.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, you guys have any thoughts or feedback about this film or other things recently? Yeah, let us know. You can email us at feedback@screentimepod.com or send a message, direct message, or leave a comment. You can like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And if you'd like to follow each of us on Instagram, I'm at JYoungBar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.